A few years back, when we were still hitting freezing temperatures in the middle of March, I grew sick of the cold. I had a silly thought I shared on social media to get a few laughs. I said, I have an idea. Every one of us in the valley just need to turn our space heaters and blow dryers on outside, and then it'll be spring before we know it. I only got 39 reactions, and I didn't expect anything more than a few giggles, but I couldn't help but wonder what kind of a difference we could make on the weather if we really did try. I'm not the only one to have had this thought. Believe it or not, an actual field of research and practice is weather manipulation. You're listening to A Degree in Nonsense. I'm Josh Hobbs. I feel there's value in useless but fun information. Unfortunately, it won't pay your bills. So, in this podcast, I share random but interesting things I take the time to learn. Essentially, I waste time so you don't have to. Here we go. We have long understood the matchless power of Mother Nature. Everything from bummer last-minute changes to our plans because of a freak rainstorm, to a national flood-related death rate of 95 individuals per year over the last decade, to epic Hollywood one-liners. Life, finds a way. Our heroes in entertainment who have managed to harness the forces of nature have been considered among the most elite of them all. Listen to this brief characterization of Marvel's Storm on Marvel's website. Ororo Munroe, aka Storm, is one of the most famous and powerful mutants on the planet. A stalwart member of the X-Men with the ability to control the elements. Storm has also been worshipped as a goddess, Queen of Wakanda, and is a member of both the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. She is one of the X-Men's most senior leaders. I mean, listen to her talk about herself. According to Storm's Earth 616 quote page on the Marvel Fandom Wiki, she said,
"When I was just a girl, I called myself Goddess, and I lived in the sky. Sometimes I wonder why I ever left. I am a mutant with the power to control the weather. Here's where I belong. Every nerve connected with the wind, the clouds, the vapor."
I mean, it's epic, if not a little awkwardly poetic. Unfortunately, today I'm not reporting that scientists have successfully connected a person's nerves to the wind. This episode isn't quite that groundbreaking, but scientists have successfully and frequently do successfully modify the weather. Before we get to some of the suspenseful details, like weather manipulation as a wartime weapon, let's cover some of the basics. The most common form of weather manipulation is cloud seeding. Basically, this is when special chemical compounds are sprayed into clouds from machines on the ground or machines attached to airplanes that make clouds grow bigger, or clouds that might rain explode. They are often salt-like compounds that cause the water vapor within the cloud to condense, persuading the cloud to release rain. In an interview with The National, Omar Ali Azidi of the National Center of Meteorology of the UAE explained that only about 40 to 50% of the moisture in a cloud will come down to the earth as precipitation. In the UAE, they seed the cloud with a chemical mixture of potassium chloride, sodium chloride, magnesium, and other materials, which can increase the precipitation by 15 to 30%. This actually carries a lot of benefits. One huge one that governments are exploring is increasing water supply. Areas of the western United States that are prone to drought are using this technology for this very reason, and Arabia is really putting forward an effort here. I don't want to bore you, but if you're interested in further study here, there is a North American Weather Modification Council, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration tracks and archives all non-federal weather modification activities, which you can check out for yourself. I'll put links in the show notes. China is launching the largest scoped mass-scale weather manipulation project to date. Let me quote a Forbes article about it.
China is launching the world's largest weather control machine, with the ability to modify the weather in an area similar to the size of Alaska. China has never shied away from doing things on a massive scale, and this is yet another example of the Chinese government working on an unprecedented scale. China's state-owned Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation is implementing a plan to send thousands of rain-inducing machines across the Tibetan Plateau to increase rainfall along the region.
According to this article, these thousands of machines will produce and emit silver iodide particles into the atmosphere, which will draw water vapor together, producing clouds and causing rain. Weather made in China. Ski resorts also use cloud seeding as a way to increase their snowfall. The resort I go to has got some. It's also used to ensure clear skies for important events. It was used for the Beijing Olympics. Actually, let's say you're a millionaire, you're getting married, and your whole bridezilla thing is stressing you out way too much so you don't want to deal with the risk of a rainy wedding day. Well, the company Oliver's Travels has got your back. Their own catchphrase is, "Why do ordinary?" Here's what their website says about their exclusive cloud-bursting service.
Here at Oliver's Travels, we've helped countless happy couples arrange their destination wedding of their dreams by pairing them with a perfect venue and making sure the food, drinks, and entertainment are exactly what they've always wanted. But one thing always bugged us. We can help plan everything down to the last detail, but there was one thing we could never really change: the weather. So we decided to do something about that. We're proud and just a little bit excited to be able to offer an exclusive cloud-bursting service to our customers, 100% guaranteeing fair weather and clear skies for you when you tie the knot. Upon requesting this service, a crack team of pilots and meteorologists will begin meticulously planning the operation, which takes about 3 weeks and utilizes particles of silver iodide to condense the water vapor from clouds into rain. Costs start at £100,000. But then this is some superhero-style weather modification we've got going on here. And what? Price perfection? Just for reference, £100,000 sterling is $124,375 US at the time of recording. Now let's look at the darker side of some weather manipulation.
All the power of the storm from all the world flows through my veins, and can be summoned by mine hammer at any time, wherever it is. A lightning storm in Japan? Mine. A hurricane off the coast of Barbados? Mine again. A brace of tornadoes in Kansas? Aye, mine. All that might, all that destructive force, mine to command, channeled and guided through the mystic might of this hammer, guided right at thee.
Thor Odinson, Marvel Comics. Water is one of the most powerful forces on this planet. Canyons carved by its unstoppable flow, lives lost and forever altered by its destructive power, and all this while we can't live without its life-sustaining properties on the daily. During the war in Vietnam, the U.S. military explored a radical new way to cut off the enemy's supply shipments. Let's talk a little bit about Operation Popeye. Southeast Asia experiences a seasonal wind system reversal called the monsoon, which results in incredibly abundant rainfall. The U.S. military spent about $3 million per year from March 20th, 1967 to July 5th, 1972 in a cloud seeding effort as an attempt to extend the effects of the monsoon. The goal of this effort was to soften the roads, cause landslides, and wash out river crossings, all down the Ho Chi Minh Trail to slow, disrupt, or cut off the enemy's supply trucks and soldier movements. After the efforts were ceased, the press got a hold of the story, and upon publication, the U.S. Senate pushed for the prohibition of environmental warfare. This resulted in the Environmental Modification Convention, a United Nations treaty to outlaw the use of weather warfare. While mankind may always find ways to use advances in technology for destruction, there is always a bright, constructive use. The very technology we use for chaos can be used for safety. Cloud seeding could potentially burst pre-hurricane storm clouds before the hurricane occurs. There have been attempts to weaken hurricanes using cloud seeding, which have been unsuccessful but very beneficial for the advancement of science. There are other hypotheses of ways we can manipulate weather to break hurricanes and save lives. The documentary How to Stop a Hurricane presents several theories, including quoting from a Wikipedia entry about this film. I know, great source. Using lasers to discharge lightning in storms which are likely to become hurricanes, pouring liquid nitrogen onto the sea to deprive the hurricanes of heat energy, creating soot to absorb sunlight and change air temperature to create convection currents in the outer wall. Mankind may always find both production and destruction in our advancements, but I suppose, at the end of the day, what makes us the superior species on Earth is our ability to change the world. Our theme music is by Blue Wednesday. Link for that, as well as all of our sources used in this episode, are found in the show notes. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and check us out at dinpodcast.com. Now remember, you can call in and share with us the random things you learn about and can get your voice on the podcast. That number for you to call is 801-332-9837. We'll see you on our next episode.